naturopathic path, so to speak, that doctor. I hear that more and more these days. So is that a trend? Is that, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You want to elaborate on that a little bit? Because
Sure.
I don't think when my mom and dad were growing up that, there were naturopathic doctors as the norm, more like it is today.
Right. So I'll give you just a short history. In the early 1900s, there were naturopaths. And then in the new age of antibiotics, there was a lot of controversy, and a lot of those old naturopaths were kind of snuffed out to some degree, but they did hang around, right? People still did want natural options. And so there were a couple of naturopathic schools that were managed to stay open. They've gained a lot of notoriety in the last 50 years as a lot of science and technology has caught up with the research saying that there are a lot of good things that come out of the natural remedies and the natural therapies. And so as people have kind of progressed in recognizing that just doing antibiotics and just doing drugs, so to speak, it doesn't provide the highest level of quality of care. Naturopaths have been around for a long time. It's just kind of coming full circle, and that people want something else outside of just drugs and surgery.
So a naturopathic doctor, do they take insurances like other primary physicians?
So
And what do they cover?
it depends on the state. So for example, here in the state of Washington, as a primary care physician, they cover basic symptom reduction. So for example, I'll often see people with fatigue or maybe thyroid issues or hormone issues, those sorts of simple standard basics that they would typically go see their primary care. Insurance will typically cover that. Most major insurances cover naturopaths in the state of Washington, and there's some new rulings in the last few years that have really kind of opened that up. It's a state dependent piece, though. We're not technically licensed in all 50 states at this point.
Well, for our viewers, naturopathics are, so that's a good thing here in the state of Washington. We're almost out of time. I can't believe that topic already went by so fast. What would you like to tell our viewers as far as what we're discussing in this episode? Because I am definitely going to invite you back. What would you like to share with them as a closing piece?
So as closing, what I'd like to really focus on is recognizing that there are other ways outside of just drugs and surgery that are options and available for everybody out there. There's a lot of stuff available on the internet, and Dr. Google tends to overwhelm a lot of people. And there are a lot of good providers out there that are open and have a lot of knowledge and experience with being able to use that whole triangle of health component, right? So I would say it's important to understand that if you go to a medical doctor, what you're looking for. If you're looking for basically symptom reduction, going to a traditional doctor is going to be what you're going to get. And that's great, as long as you know that that's what you're looking for. I often see people come talk to me and they get really frustrated with their medical doctor because they want to get well. And so the last thing that I would say is going to a traditional doctor is not usually going to provide wellness per se, because their training is what can we do to make sure you're not going to die and stay out of pain.
Right.
Okay? The only way you're going to find wellness is to be able to look at that triangle of health and really recognize that it's going to take a time to really work on wellness and to get well, to get off medications, to work in that direction. And still, even then, not everybody can do that. So that would be the difference. I really work on educating people to find a good experience when they go to their traditional physician, knowing that their goal is to find symptom reduction. If they're looking for something other than symptom reduction, then they want to go find like a naturopath or somebody else who's going to focus on getting them well.
Good advice. Thank you.